Alright, everybody. Good morning and welcome into Retro Timed. I am Nosage Timed. Let me get my gaming news set up because I came in a little bit later today. I didn't oversleep, but I just was running behind, so. But let me pull it up on here. Alright, right, that should be good right there. Alright, the other thing I want to do is I want to pull up. I gotta learn to change the titles of my streams because I literally. All right, there we go. So now, um, one more second. All right, we're gonna hop back and forth. All right, so now, let me drop the screen down to a smaller size. All right, so all right, so I saw this earlier when I woke up before I got on here. But E3 is actually officially dead. They didn't have E3 last year, and people were like, well, some people were saying they might have it this year, but it's officially dead. So I have to program. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. All right. I don't know much about this website, but okay. I'll read it because I do want to read what's going on. All right. E3 shuts down after 2 decades run as video game industry's biggest convention. It's official. E3 has been shut down as the video game industry's biggest convention and media platform for good. After more than 2 decades of E3, each one bigger than the last, the time has come to say goodbye. Thanks for Memories and Entertainment Software Association. The Video Game Trade Association said on X, its account on its X account on Tuesday, which would be today. The ESA deciding to close down E3 as an event followed the 2023 edition of the Electronic Entertainment being cancelled, after several major game developers and companies, including Microsoft and Nintendo, announced they would not be in attendance. The annual trade event for the video game industry had been set to take place at Los Angeles Convention Center from June 13th to 16th, 2023. That outing was also the E3 event's second attempt to return as an in-person event aimed the pandemic. E3 was first canceled on 2020, aimed the first year of the COVID-19 pandemic, with virtual edition held in 2021 before a planned in-person return for 2022. But the edition was canceled, both as an in-person and virtual event. E3 has drawn as many as 65,000 attendees and over 200 exhibitors in the past year. At the time, E3 faced competition from big game companies organizing their own virtual events to share news, next generation products roll out with consumers, and as they also hosted their own direct-to-consumer live stream, such as Nintendo Directs, Sony State of Play events, or even smaller indie studios like Shovel Knight developer Yacht Club Games. August news video, the importance of E3 as an in-person event, also came into question. I guess that's it for this. So, yeah, Gene Park on X was just saying it. Let me go and see if I can find where he posted, because he writes articles for like these bigger news articles. I mean, these newspapers. So, where the hell is it? I thought he wrote something, but I guess not. Does he work for? I think he works for the website. He might work for the website I'm on. Yeah, but Gene Park. Okay, so here, let's pull this down. If you're not familiar who Gene Park is, he's a very, very popular person within the video games community. He basically he writes articles for the news for like certain news outlets, and he basically confirmed that uh he well yeah, the Washington Post is what he writes for, so he confirmed it too. He wrote an article on it just now. But he's like, since 1995, E3 had been the gathering place for the games industry. I'm glad I was able to attend twice. I saw the trailer of Halo 2 and Metal Gear Solid 3 debut. I hung out with both babes like Prince Prince of Persia below. It was a moment in time. So, yeah, he's specifying how great E3 was at one point. But E3 has officially died solely because of the fact that like there's just a lot of stuff that as soon as that pandemic hit, after the pandemic was over, everything just went out of whack, and it just really really like messed things up for a lot of stuff, and it just really really like it messed things up for like the video gamers exactly because this was a place for us to like go once a year and meet. Now, I would have loved to go to this, but there's a couple I'm looking forward to going to in the future. I just I don't know when I'm gonna be doing that, but I do plan on going to some of these events in the near future. I just don't know when. I have to find time off from my actual job and stuff like that to go to them. But I do want to like check some of these video game events out. Like there's one up north where I used to live. Hold on. There's one up north where I used to live. I used to live in the state of Pennsylvania, so like there's one up there called Too Many Games, and I'd love to go to that just because like I want to go back up to like visit my home state, of course. I don't know where I'd be going exactly, but I wouldn't go to Too Many Games because it looks like a lot of fun, and I know that everybody from Spawnwave goes to that event, so that's why I kind of want to go to that event. But um the next one coming up ain't till like sometime in a warmer season, so I have to keep an eye out for it. But we're gonna go on. It's sad that that had to shut down because that was like one of the many like one of the one of the few events that I know was big for the video game industry for a while, and it just shut down. And it just goes to show you that you know, unfortunately, Jeff Keighley has all the events right now, and Jeff Keighley just doesn't understand that to keep video gaming out, to keep Hollywood out of video gaming, that's something he doesn't understand, and it's because he's so busy trying to capture the spotlight that I don't know. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like he understands that. All right. Wow, they really went down into this like bad spot with this. All right, so there's a lot of drama going on around this game. I've been looking at it lately, but it's like people are actually like literally complaining about so many things about it. So it's at the point now where like I'm kind of wanna like I guess they're like taking the game back or something like that. I'm not sure, but what I'm getting from it is that like the game came out and it's like absolutely horrendous because what this is saying here is the day before publishers giving refunds regardless of playtime, okay? So the game must be horrible or something. And since the debut of the trailer, everybody's been complaining. And there's a game previously that's been out for like ever, which is very, very similar to this game. Very similar looking to this game. And that is what the hell is that game? It came out years ago. Um Tom Clancy's The Division is what it is. Tom Clancy made it and everybody was complaining about how it looked very similar to The Division. All right. So I don't know much about The Division, and The Division was something I actually wanted to play for a while, so all right. The day before, publisher Mytona has apologized for the present circumstances and committed to opening refunds for everyone who purchased the game on Steam. The actions are in response. The day before's delisting and closure of its development studio, Fantastic, after customers were met with a product that was falsely advertised for years. Ever since the day before was announced in early 2021, some were skeptical that the supported open world MMO survival game would see the light of day. Fantastic had only released a few games before revealing the day before, all of which were significantly smaller in scope and received a less than stellar critical reception after a few minor delays and accusations of soliciting unpaid labor. The day before vanished from Steam, with Fantastic blaming a trademark dispute, any remaining fuel of cautious optimism as low in supply after February 2023 gameplay gameplay trailer, which showcased a vision far from what had been previously promised. The day before finally released in early access on December 7th, leading to tens of thousands concurrent players to immediately realize that it was not in fact an open world MMO survival, but something more akin to extraction shooters. Fantastic announced that it would be shutting down just 4 days later. An update from Mytona arrived via tweet, which implicitly took some responsibility as an investor of the day before, albeit understating just how much it did not meet the expectation of a majority of players. The publisher said it will be working with Steam to open up refunds for any that had not already done so. It is not unlikely that this will see the Steam refund policy relaxed, which currently only issued refunds for 2 weeks after the initial purchase, as long as total playtime is under 2 hours. Mytona is yet to explain why the day before was advertised as an open world MMO despite falling far short of either description. The official Fantastic Twitter account, is that what that's called? Okay. I thought that was like, I was like, is that a joke? Echoed my Tona a few hours later, confirming that it was in communication with Steam to allow refunds for any player regardless of game time. The tweets continued stating that Fntastic received zero and will receive nothing from the day before sales. In attempt to deflect accusation of fraud and profiteering off of a false advertising. However, Fntastic responds to a comment that described that the studio as disgrace, which reads, "This is our first big experience. Shit happens, it is unlikely to still any sympathy. Those who purchased it have already turned off enough to see have already been turned off enough to see the day before player count plummet. And the day before has now been delisted with an overwhelmingly negative aggregate review, rating its legacy will be how a highly anticipated title became one of the worst reviewed games on Steam, and rather than take accountability for selling a broken, misleading product at 40, Fntastic seems more caught up with deleting itself from the internet." That's crazy. Well, it's so in a sense they're doing a good thing, but it makes me wonder how many people actually paid money for this. Like, how many people actually bought it? Because I didn't hear much about it, and it's like, and I'm kind of curious to go and just browse and see if the game is anywhere on the internet and see what happens and see if it is $40. And I kind of want to look into this a little bit more because it's just weird how, like, I knew this was coming out, but it wasn't like anything massively huge. Well, it was. It made enough. It made enough of a bang, I want to say, to actually get people to notice it and get people wound up about it. So there has, well, hype, actually, sorry, not bang, hype. Um, there has to be some, like, I'm kind of curious as to where, like, if it is on the internet, and will it be free to play after they did this, because they could actually still sell this as a free to play game, download it for free, and actually, pay small money to get something within the game. I'm not trying to throw ideas out there, but this just seems like something where they really, really wanted to keep it out there. Now, what is even strange about this is when you look at it, is this company, part of me wonders now if this company behind the scenes is having problems and that's why like all this is occurring. Because, when you look at it on surface level, it looks like they're delivering us a broken game. All right? They're delivering us a broken game, or there's, you know, or just, people, I don't really know, but like on the surface level, it looks like only a broken game, but there's something that might be here that may be even more of a problem than we realize, and the company might be going like bankrupt, or like the company may be shutting down, something like that. Just remember, stuff on a surface level isn't always what it seems to be what it is. There's always something going on much deeper with beyond the surface level. And that's why, like, you do things like a book. A book, for example. A book may look good, but you could read that book and be like, man, this book sucks. Or like a video game, for example. A video game may look great, but then again, the video game may actually suck. That's why, like, you can have a really cool cover on a video game, but sometimes even a cool cover don't justify. Sometimes the cool cover don't justify how horrid the game is actually, and so that's just something to keep in mind. If 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 you're having trouble understanding that, you'll have to like see for yourself. Pick up, go out there and look for a book that was rated horribly, but look at its cover. See how the cover looks, and you'll see that like sometimes the cover just doesn't justify anything. Like there's times you could have a completely shitty cover, which I don't like this cover on this game, but this is just my opinion. But no, not that one. That one's great. I like that one. So somebody the other day, this cover right here, not the greatest cover. I feel like they could have zoomed in more on Link like they did with this one. But this cover right here, it shows an example of the game. It's not the greatest cover. I think they could have done two covers to this and had this be one and have another one where Link is standing there and he has like the arm already, and like there was a really cool cover I seen on the internet of Tears of the Kingdom, and I was just like, man, I wish they would have done that instead. But yeah, you have to remember sometimes covers don't justify everything all the time. That, you could you could have a cover of something like a book or a movie, and the book in the movie may look cool. The cover may look cool as hell, but the book doesn't. The book or the movie may not be good. Or in reverse, you could have a shitty cover and have one of the greatest movies ever behind that cover. Like this, it's just that's just how it goes sometimes. All right, so yeah, there's a term I go by. I go by the term and I've lived by this term for like ever. Don't judge a book by its cover, but judge the book by the inside. Until you see actual actions of things, and until you see people actually doing stuff, don't say a person's doing something until you actually literally have seen it and have seen it done more than once. Because looking at things too deeply, it gets people into trouble. It gets you into trouble. It makes you look like an asshole when you're blaming somebody and they didn't actually do anything. So I look at it this way: we live on the internet, and the internet's doing a lot of what? The internet will see somebody doing something, and they'll take it and they'll let that sit in their head, and they let that intrusive thought linger about and then go deeper than what it needs to be, and then they'll sit there and be like, oh my god, that person did that. Like, that's why you got to take what's said on the internet with a grain of salt. There are a lot of people on the internet that do take things a little too far, and I'm not going to sit here and talk about them, but my opinion is they should, they should reconsider their jobs in life and go find something off of the internet. That's all I got to say. But that's just my take on it. All right. God of War Ragnarok Valhalla has a challenge even adepts failed to complete. So let's see what this is. And yes, the DLC for this is completely free from what I understand. If you have uh God of War Ragnarok, which I think is the recent one, you're gonna be able to download Valhalla like for free. God of War Ragnarok Valhalla DLC new hardest difficulty mode called Show Me Mastery is a challenge that even the developers haven't beaten yet. According to its game director, Santa Monica Studio surprised players by announcing a free God of War Ragnarok Valhalla DLC at the recent concluded the game DLC at the recently concluded Game Awards event. Releasing in 2022, God of War Ragnarok became the fastest selling first party game in PlayStation history, with over 5.1 million copies sold at its launch week. The sequel was another big hit among fans and critics for making interesting additions while keeping the best part of 2018 God of War intact. One of the most appreciated aspects of Ragnarok is its difficulty setting, ranging from the easiest setting called Give Me Story to the most challenging setting called Give Me God of War, from the Valkyrie battles in 2018 games to Ragnarok Berserker battles. Santa Monica has offered Herculean Herculean challenges that scale in difficulty based on the settings which players have thoroughly enjoyed. Now it is looking to kick things up a notch as Valhalla director has revealed an even more difficult challenge for the fans. In a post on Twitter, God of War Ragnarok Valhalla DLC game director Mihira Seth has revealed a new difficulty mode, Show Me Mastery, which even the developers haven't beaten yet. Sheath also mentioned looking forward to the community attempts to humble them, but believes that the team has maybe beaten the players this time by creating a truly unbeatable challenge. Valhalla looks to offer combat experience Ragnarok, Crucible, and 2018 God of War Nephilim maze to roguelike elements, which will make the task even more difficult as players will have to start from scratch upon death. God of War players have had a history of surprising developers with no limits runs and speed runs. For instance, one player beat Ragnarok Queen Gina in 11 seconds at the highest difficulty, while another did the same at level 1, just arrows and shields, taking it a step further. One player managed to beat Thor at the highest difficulty with their hand in a Pringles can, uh, proving that God of War community doesn't shy away from from any challenge. One reason players were surprised by Valhalla's announcement is because of the rumors suggesting that half sequel to God of War Ragnarok is underway. However, several players now believe that Valhalla could act as a build-up for the next game in the series after Ragnarok's open ending, which saw Atreus' departure and gave Kratos a new path. Alright, so that's interesting. I wouldn't be surprised. Let's see. I want to scroll down and see how much we got. Okay. Alright, so, I guess we'll read this. Alright. Insomniac Games have been hit with a ransomware attack. Not surprising, a lot of game companies do this. This is how you know people like ruining stuff, okay? When things like these happen, it's because somebody is sitting out there not bothering to play games, okay? This is how this starts. You get a person that's really absolutely bored and just, again, with intrusive thoughts, they let the intrusive thoughts, like, bother them so much that they'll go and they'll be like, oh, now I'm so pissed off at this company, I'm gonna launch a ransomware attack on them, and people just get ridiculous. We have, the guy who's leaked GTA 6, he, a lot of these people doing this, the reason they do it is because they don't have anything else to do with their free time. So when you have a lot of free time on your hands and you have nothing to do, what do? You go and you do stuff like this, and this is why this problem has begun. We've seen this. We've seen a lot of ransomware attacks and all that over the past year. And I will say this: when you're learning cybersecurity and you get bored one day, you're just like, well, I'm gonna go and do something. Like I want to explore, or I want to like build something, send it out somewhere, and just kind of be a jerk about it. A lot of people, end up like letting the intrusive thoughts enter their head when they're bored, and so that's why we see things like this happen. There's a couple people here on the internet, again, I could mention, but I am not going to. But they're part of that. They let their mind wander too much, and then we see them get into even more trouble than they want to. And it's partly them looking for not only clout, but they're also looking for a reason to want to try to take somebody down. It could be anything. Like, example, like we see Gerard the Completionist, what he's going through right now, and the whole reason that thing started was because some guys sat on the internet and they must have talked to one another, and then they started being like, well, I think he did this. First of all, let me explain something here. What are you doing going into people's business outside of YouTube, okay? What are you doing going into what are you doing going into people's business, okay? What do you need to be so nosy for? First of all, that's what leads to that, okay? Being bored, intrusive thoughts, and being like, hey, this guy has a lot of money. He's doing this with it. Let's check him and see if he's a bad guy. And that's what happens. You get people sitting on the internet all day long doing that kind of stuff. And trust me, there's people out there literally just doing that for because they're bored. And that's what happens. You get people blaming others because they're bored. That's all it really is. I'm so bored, I need to blame somebody and I need to cause an uproar on the internet so people care about me. Honestly, buddy, you might want to consider going to read the Bible like I do and get off of the internet drama. And with that said, that's why I don't get into internet drama anymore, because I'm too busy for that. My mind is my mind is no longer wandering to the point of where, well, that guy might be doing something bad, blah blah blah. I gotta check him out. Like, no, you don't do that. That's completely rude. And first of all, why are you sneaking into his files and figuring out what he's doing? Isn't that an invasion of privacy? First of all, I will give my take right now on the Gerard the Completionist. Mudahark could potentially get himself in trouble because he sneakily got into Gerard the Completionist's files, which technically Mudahark's been doing invasion of privacy right there. That's how we know. That's how you know. That's why I kind of take Gerard's side on this. Regardless of how anybody feels, Mudahark is invading people's privacy by doing what he's doing. Just that's how it looks. That's why I'm not really taking a side. But yes, Gerard the Completionist has had his privacy invaded by Mudahark and some other people on the internet. Gerard the Completionist could get those people in trouble for some serious trouble for hacking. And then they could go to prison for hacking. That's how bad it could get. And that's why when even if Gerard the Completionist is mad, the way he did the video and people disagreeing, what you don't understand is they had invaded Gerard's privacy, so therefore they can get in trouble for invading privacy of another content creator, another person. And by United States law, you cannot invade and intrude somebody's privacy. Just remember that. So that is a rule that you cannot do. That's why he could go to court and have every one of those guys arrested for doing that, because that's an invasion of privacy. Just saying that. So that's why you see people like the kid who invaded the GTA 6 server. Okay, invaded with GTA 6. He got himself into serious trouble because he not only attacked a big company, but he invaded privacy of the company by taking parts of the game and showing it off on the internet. So he got himself into trouble for invading privacy, if that makes sense. So I'm not taking a side on this, but that's just my take on it. You don't hack unless you expect to get in trouble. Expect to get in trouble. And Gerard, even though he did what he did, there are a lot of other people that can get in trouble for that same exact reason, for invading his privacy. Insomniac Games may have been hit with a ransomware attack. That's why when it comes down to it, you hear all those stories about some really big hacker going to jail. It's because they invaded privacy. You can't go around invading privacy on the internet by hacking into people's computers and files. It looks shady, and you look like a piece of trash for doing it. Doesn't matter how you feel. So I'm just saying that as a standpoint, A lot of people are disagreeing with what Gerard is saying, but Gerard has a good reason to be doing to want to take Mutahar to court for what he did, because he had invaded the privacy of another human being, which by law and by government law you can't be doing that. And if the government finds out what they're doing by invading the privacy of another human being, they will technically go to jail. They will not get a fine. They will be handcuffed for that shit. And that's a big time that's a big time handcuff right there. Sony's Insomniac game might be among the latest victims of a ransomware attack. The studios has seen through a successful few months following the success of a Marvel Spider-Man 2 launch and the anticipation of its Wolverine game aimed the growing popularity. It appears that Insomniac may have attracted some unwanted attention in the form of a cyber attack. So, if you've been paying attention lately, a lot of these cyber attacks get people in trouble. That's something you really need to pay attention to. And cyber attacking an individual who, it doesn't matter how long it was, just attacking an individual with hacking them or whatever, that is a federal offense right there. It's already been clarified it's a federal offense, and you ain't gonna turn into no detective then. You're gonna get sent directly to prison. Attackers have routinely targeted high-profile video game studios over the years for numerous reasons. Gaming companies of a different scale, spanning for Bandai Namco and CD Projekt Red to Riot Games, have been impacted by a cyber attack. During the past year alone, even a studio like Rockstar wasn't immune from getting hacked when the attacker released GTA 6. So again, we're talking about the guy who released the information on GTA 6. What happened to him? He went to jail. Okay? Content a year before the debut trailer was even released. It's an indication that cybercriminals have seemingly grown more ambitious in targeting the video game industry, and unfortunately for Insomniac Games, they appear to be the latest addition to this list. According to a story by Cyber Daily, Insomniac Games has reportedly been hit by Rhysida ransomware. The group has posted limited data to back up its claim, which include internal email, confidentially signed documents, passports, information of employees, personal documents of Spider-Man. So as you can see here, the personal documents is what I'm talking about. Okay, so looking at the Gerard the Completionist case, where the fuck did Mutahar and all those guys get the personal documents from? But besides hacking another individual, if they have personal documents of Gerard could send their asses to jail, and they will not be on YouTube for like months. Watch. Voice actors Yuri Lowenthal. The leak also seems to include details regarding the upcoming Wolverine game, along with the character of art of Marvel characters who may show up in the title. So yeah, you gotta remember, having personal documents on your machine from another machine or whatever, any of his personal documents, you break into somebody's mail, you get somebody's mail, and they take you to court because of it, that is a federal offense, ladies and gentlemen. There's no escaping that. If there's actual proof that people have your mail and are opening up your mail with your name on it, your valuable information, that is a federal offense. That's why the dark web. You go into the dark web, you can get in serious trouble for that kind of stuff. Those websites can get shut down for having that information. That's why I'm saying, if Gerard really wanted to take Mutahar and those guys to court, he could get them into trouble for having his personal information. That's why I keep saying it. That's why Mutahar is going to fuck up one day really, really badly, and he needs to chill on it. But somebody's going to send his ass to jail, man. He's not going to be a fan of that. It's going to happen soon. The Rhysida Group state that Insomniac Games has 7 days to pay an undisclosed amount before the data set is made public. So right there, uh, the so right there, we're seeing data, and it's going to be made public. But who could get in trouble is this guy right here. This guy right here can get himself in a serious trouble by having this information. All right, it doesn't matter how much you threaten somebody on information, they can have information all they want on you. But the reality of the truth is, Insomniac Games could take them to court and sue this guy over here for having all that private information on them. Insomniac Games has, okay. Currently, the group is running a public auction of the data at a stating price of 50 Bitcoin, roughly over 2 million. Open your wallets and be ready to buy exclusive data. We sell only to 100 on reselling. You will be the only owner, the group further states on the website at the time of publish. Neither Sony nor Insomniac Games have officially commented on the incident. News of the attack comes barely 2 months since the studio released that much-anticipated Spider-Man 2 game. The title has been the studio's most successful release, missing over 5 million copies sold within weeks of its launch, with the excitement now shifting towards the matured tone Wolverine title. A premature reveal of the game's detail could prove detrimental to Insomniac's plan. This is particularly challenging in a scenario where leaks around Marvel's Wolverine game are already surfacing on the internet. If 2022 GTA 6 leak is any indication, it is that Insomniac will likely want to nip this in the bud before the Rysida group makes its move. So, an example, okay, we saw the kid who released all the information on GTA 6. All right, he recently got sentenced to jail. All right, just remember, just because somebody has a bunch of valuable information and they're forcing somebody to pay for it, okay, the police could potentially get involved in this, a detective, and really get the guys who are like threatening them in trouble. It doesn't matter how much information they have. If you have any information on somebody that is important information, like their name, their address, like, info on funding, money, stuff like that, important information, that is a potential you can go to jail for having that info. And that's where I'm like looking at this whole Gerard the Completionist. And if it does escalate, well, then we know what's going to happen. Gerard can take those guys to court and get them in trouble for having his information. That's just simple and plain as it is. Because we see this play over and over, and we see what happens. Those people who do have the information always end up going to jail. The GTA 6 kid, there was a group a few months ago that, Lapsus, I think it was, he got him, one of the kids from Lapsus got themselves in trouble. So this whole hacking agenda, it's going to come to an end very soon, because the fact that people are actually hacking and having information, those are some serious problems, ladies and gentlemen, and they can get themselves into trouble. That's why you don't go and hack somebody and then turn around and pretend that you got a whole bunch of information on them, being like, haha, I got information on you, you're the bad guy. No, actuality, you're the bad guy, because now you took a bunch of information that you didn't need to know from somebody, and your ass could get sued for I don't know how many years, or go to jail for how many years. But yes, the way that whole Gerard the Completionist thing could end is Gerard could just get a small fine. The guys that hacked him could potentially end up in jail for a long time for doing it. That's why I'm stating he needs to chill on his shit, because, yes, Gerard may have made mistakes, but Middlehar's making even more of a bigger mistake by hacking in and finding people's information like that. You can't go around doing that. You're not a big shot on the internet. And, if you're found out, which you're going to get found out because you already openly admit you hack, right? You're going to get found out. really, really soon, and you're gonna get in trouble really, really soon. So that big ass, that big bad, I'm a big bad hacker thing is gonna stop soon. It's gonna stop. It's gonna. This is an example of what happens when you have too much information and you're threatening somebody with information. I'm just saying that. All right. Assassin's Creed Mirage updates new game plus, classic outfit, and more, much more. So, all right. Yeah, the government could literally sit there and look at Middlehar's like YouTube profile right now, and just probably arrest that guy for some of the stuff he put up on the internet. I mean, up on YouTube, because that's simply what you pick, what I picked up on him is he's rude, man. He's rude. That's all I gotta say. Ubisoft released update 1.0.6 for Assassin's Creed Mirage, finally adding New Game Plus while also making a major improvement to the game's parkour movement and introducing a unique version of Bayek's Medjay outfit from Origins. Since its launch back in October, Assassin's Creed Mirage has seen plenty of success from Ubisoft, likely that thanks to its large part to bringing the gameplay elements back to its roots. The shift is in the shift in philosophy has not only resulted in positive word of mouth, but Assassin's Creed Mirage became the biggest sales launch for Ubisoft on the PS5 and Xbox Series X consoles. Even as a single player experience, Ubisoft has made sure to make the game update with bug fixes, improvements, and also added content. While a true expansion isn't expected, Ubisoft has continued to add smaller post-launch content to Assassin's Creed Mirage, with the promise of bigger features like the New Game Plus to come. While permadeath is still on the way, update 1.0.6 has finally arrived and makes good on Ubisoft's promise for a New Game Plus option. Update 1.0.6 has finally arrived for Assassin's Creed Mirage, with the biggest piece of patch being a dedicated New Game Plus. Players can find this option from the title screen or pause menu, and it allows playthrough to directly skip the prologue and kick things off in a Baghdad proper as expected. The option will be available on the main story, has been completed on any difficulty, and will allow players to retain all of their current collective skins and gears and costumes to entice players. Ubisoft also revealed Bayek's Medjay outfit unlocked to Bazum, which is available for those stating a New Game Plus run, plus 3 addition dies for it that become available throughout the run. The patch also features a vast array of bug fixes, both in general gameplay as well as fixing numerous quest-related bugs. In addition, Ubisoft has also tweaked the parkour mechanics by increasing the back and side eject range, which should allow Bazum to quickly reach higher elevation while also crossing larger distances. The patch ranges in size of 2.03 gigabytes on the PS5, 4.76 gigabytes on Xbox Series X and S, and 5.03 gigabytes for PC players. The addition of the New Game Plus to New Game Plus marks off a big fan requested feature for the game. Though Ubisoft isn't done yet, back in November, Ubisoft teased upcoming content for Assassin's Creed Mirage, not only confirming New Game Plus for December, but also confirming that another highly requested feature with permadeath mode also arriving in December. Considering it's not part of this update, it stands to reason that the next update could very well contain another new game mode for fans to check out. Assassin's Creed Mirage Update 1.0.6 patch notes New Game Plus. New Game Plus is coming to Assassin's Creed Mirage. Upcoming completing the main story on difficulty. Start a new game while keeping all collected skills and gear costume from first playthrough. So this is just a bunch of information on the next patch we're going to be getting from Assassin's Creed, which you can go and read. I'm not going to sit here and read all that because there's just a lot. All right, so all right. No GTA 6 on PC at launch, explained by former Rockstar dev. GTA 6 will be skipping PC at launch because the developers want to privatize what sells. A former Rockstar staffer said Rockstar officially unveiled GTA 6 on December 4, stating that the much anticipated game is planned to reach the PS5 and Xbox Series X by sometime 2025. Since the game's long-awaited announcement made no mention of personal computers, the fandom took this to mean that GTA 6 is skipping the PC at launch. Such a turn of events would, in line with Rockstar long-standing track record, at least mainline's entry that was treated to a day one multi-platform release on PC and on both PC and console was GTA 2, which launched back in the late 90s. Former Rockstar animator Mike York agrees with the assumption, having recently said that the PC port of GTA 6 is likely to take longer to develop. The industry veteran expanded on that sentiment on December 11th YouTube video that saw him assert Rockstar always wants to prioritize what sells, specifically the company's number one focus has historically been PlayStation, with York recalling Rockstar initially prioritizing PS3 during his time working at GTA 5. Even though the Xbox 360 version was developed simultaneously, and Rockstar staffer wasn't expecting 360 ports to outsell PS3 version of GTA 5. Developing in tandem was feasible because it only required the studio to target two systems. York said, in contrast, optimizing for PC was continually undertaking due to the sheer volume of hardware configurations that developers had to count. The ex-Rockstar staffer believes the configuration for the ex-Rockstar staffer believes the same will be true for Grand Theft Auto 6, which is why its PC port is bound to take longer. York did acknowledge that PC gaming has been on the rise in recent years, implying that trend of largely console-driven AAA sales might not hold true forever. But even should the PC sales overtake their console counterpart, it's always going to be easier to optimize games for one or two systems than a massive variety thereof. So out of all the top reasons why Rockstar historically avoided PC at launch, the fact that PC optimization might be harder than rocket science in some situation is certainly up there, York said. The former Rockstar animator hence urged fans to remain patient while knowing that the studio is doing everything it can to deliver the best possible game. Time will tell when the title will actually reach PCs, although 2027 does not sound like an impossible launch window. assuming GTA 6 release on PS5 and Xbox Series X in late 2025. So, all right, there you have it. Just some information on Rockstar releasing the PC port later. All right, so let's find one more good story to read, which I was going to read about this controller. All right, Sony working on adding virtual buttons to the controllers. What does that even mean? Let's find out. So I don't see a difference in here, but okay. So looks like from this image, they're gonna add buttons into the touchpad. So the thing about that is like when you play a game on a phone, okay, that's an example. All right, you can't play it the same way, okay? It doesn't feel right. You can play it, you can get good at it, but at the same time, playing a game on a phone and using the touchscreen to control the character or whatever is just the worst experience ever. Like sometimes you can't even tell like what direction you're going. And I know that's weird saying that, but it's an example as to like, you know, I'd rather have a full blown controller in front of me. Like, if you're gonna do something like that, at least like okay, so let's take example this phone. If you're gonna put buttons on the phone, okay, if you're gonna make the phone a device playable, put the buttons on the actual screen, alright, sticking out. Or like put lumps there. And put like put a joystick here, a joystick where, I don't really care, but like make it touchable, man. Make it so you feel the button layout instead of making it flat and digitized, because you really can't feel what's going on when you do it that way. So in the future, when that's done, in the future when people are actually like playing games on a phone, we can get this feeling of actually having the controls at our fingertips, because playing a game on a phone is not very fun, and I will openly admit to that. Playing a game on a phone is not fun because you cannot experience where the buttons are, and that's what bothers me about the whole thing. That's why I don't like playing games on phone too much, because the only way I'm playing a game on a phone is if it's a touch game where like you'll control your guy but you'll touch him to go that way. Or if you're running through, be able to control what your finger run through, and then just put like, you know, two different tap buttons, because that's all you really would need. Unless you're like playing an MMO, of course, then you're gonna need a lot more. But like, I think having access on your phone, like let's just say there's an MMO and you got down on the bottom here the move set. Okay, you would go and you would hit each individual move set. Like example, if you had a WWE game on a phone, you would want to put the move set off to the side here and click what move you wanted. Like if you want to punch, you would keep hitting punch. If you want to do a suplex, you hit the suplex button. Pretty simple stuff. And then if you want them to move forward, you just go like this or whatever way. Like that would be suffice to have mobile gaming, okay? But we don't have that right now. And you know, and if they were to like, if mobile gaming really is going to come to the forefront, you need to find a way to make it actually work, so people aren't like sitting there trying to like get a feel for the controllers, and it isn't working out for them. Like, no offense, I wouldn't want to play something like, something such as I wouldn't want to play um I wouldn't want to play a fighting game on a phone unless I had like a way to access the moves at ease. Because you play a fighting game on a phone, you're going to play Mortal Kombat, you're going to have to sit there and hit the buttons and hit them in order. And for me, feeling those buttons underneath my fingertips is probably the easiest, most beneficial way to make the game work. But that's just my thoughts on it. I can't really say that. Now, they do have like controllers for the phone, mobile gaming, but I have yet to use them. I actually have a controller back here that can access my mobile phone, which is this thing right here. But I haven't found a game to actually use on that. It's because I don't play games very much on the controller. I mean, on the phone. So All right, let's get back to this. Sony is possibly developing a solution for equipping physical controllers with their virtual buttons using a very variety of technology and combination. Therefore, the hardware agnostic concept offers some new insight into Sony's ongoing interest in finger tracking solution. The Sony PlayStation maker has been experimenting with the finger movement detection techniques for years. A recent uptick in Sony's patent actively even suggests that the PSVR 2 might support finger tracking, but that didn't come to pass. As of late 2023, the company has yet to commercialize any such solution. And yet, its research and development efforts on this front continue to this date, as suggested by a newly secured patent describing a way to extend physical controllers compatibilities using hand and finger tracking in order to achieve virtual button functionality. Specifically, Sony patented a multi-modal approach on tracking virtual button presses that can leverage anything from wireless receivers to and microphones to smartphone cameras and internal measurements units devices that track body properties such as a force and angular rate of rotation. So they're actually taking your movements on the controller. It's going to memorize the movements and it's going to be accessible on your touchpad, apparently. That's what I'm getting from this. What is that thing? That's a little speaker. That's pretty cool. I know my ADHD just kicked in right there, so bear with me. Several implementations described in a newly emerged patent incorporate an analysis of channel state information. CSI, God, crime scene investigation, in order to detect both large and subtle gestures by tracking amplitude variations of Wi-Fi or Bluetooth data packets exchanging between a transmitter and receiver, which can be anything from a controller to a smartphone. Sony believes it can accurately detect action like waving, typing on a keyboard, and pressing a specific spot on the gamepad, all of which have distant CSI footprint. So that again, let me go over something here after this. This is going to go into the invasion of privacy aspect of things, which I should be done, but I'm not because I still got some more to read. True to Sony's long-standing interest in machine learning, the freshly surfaced patent describes a number of implementations that would leverage an AI model in order to intelligently interpret sensor data. However, the company believes that even a rudimentary analysis of things like Wi-Fi signals and cameras feeds could be used for achieving virtual button functionality. One such solution describes a controller-mounted smartphone that simply records the user's finger movement, then translates them to button presses. See, that's what I'm talking about. All right. So, the overall solution is extremely broad, even by patent standards. The generic nature of Sony's latest potential suggests that the underlying technology is unlikely to ever be commercialized in entirety, as some of its described implementations are bound to be more specific, practically available than others. Nevertheless, the sole existence of this IP filing indicates that Sony is very much exploring the idea of adding finger tracking to its electronics. Time will tell whether this ongoing R&D effort yields a new version of DualSense or a completely novel category of gaming sensory. So, alright. So, I don't know if you guys know what amiibos do. Amiibos record like certain things you do, such as like you know, playing games and just things like that. That's what amiibos do. So, hold on. Yeah, okay. So my screen is up. So they track amiibos pretty much track like amiibos track your gameplay, okay? That's what the purpose of an amiibo is. So it'll pretty much once this rolls out, it's gonna be like you have an amiibo, okay? So the good part about it is it could probably record your video game play and teach you how to improve. Or you know, if you have something you create a fighter and you play them a certain way, it'll record that for you, and it'll be a good way of training with the computer. So it's just really interesting to see what they're going to be doing with that. So I just want to see what the next step is that they're going to do with that. I can guarantee you it's going to record some things. It's also going to record your game movement, which is going to be a great way to like challenge yourself and get yourself better against playing get yourself better. Like it's going to be like a recorded gaming a recorded uh a recorded fighter. If you're in a fighting game, it's going to record the way you fight, or like example, it might record the way you play like an MMO or like something like that, and it's gonna take that and it's gonna use that in a way that's going to be able to play in a game. So example, if you're playing a game and you've played it enough to record enough like of what you did. So example, what the game could do is it'll record you playing the if you're playing a fighting game and you build a fighter and you want to fight against that fighter later on, like as a computer, it'll record the movements you do to a T and then turn around and display them out into a form of a computerized player against you, which is what these things back here did with Super Smash Brothers. You'd put them onto the sensor here, and then it turns around and reads what you do, and then the computer will play back, and you'll be able to fight against yourself, train against that computer, and then when you get better, you can go back, re-record everything, train against that computer once you get better, and then just keep getting better, keep progressing as time goes on. It's a cool way of like getting good at games. So that's the way I look at it. There could be more to it. I don't know, but that's the way it sounds to me. So, but that's it for me today. I'm gonna be back. I'll be back later on. Streaming tonight. I'm gonna be making videos at some point today. I'm gonna be. I don't know. I'm probably gonna go back to playing Zelda tonight for a little bit. I'm gonna probably stream earlier too. Um, keep an eye on both channels too. They're gonna. I'm gonna have a Bible short coming up here very soon. Um, and in fact, like probably the next 2 hours or so, I have a Bible short. I'll be putting 3 of those up today, and then I'll go and I'll have some videos up for you guys throughout the day. So look forward to all that. I'm trying not to overexert myself today. I did a lot yesterday, and I'm gonna be doing a lot today, just not as much. I'm gonna try to find a way to make it more lenient. I might just put a video up onto my video game channel today, maybe a short, and then leave I don't know what's going on today because we're ahead of the shorts, and I want to try to keep the shorts alongside with the Bible reading. So tomorrow I might do a live Bible reading again and talk about some things again. But until then, guys, take it easy, and I'll be seeing you next time. I'll see you tomorrow morning, and then later on tonight over on here on Kick and Twitter. Look for me streaming there. But until then, guys, take it easy and have a wonderful day and keep gaming. Come on.